What is good, y'all? Welcome to the Dre Clipper Hands Academy, and in today's video we're going to be doing a burst fade, and we're going to keep some length in the back, shorten up the top so it's kind of like a mullet, but not really. That's not the go here, ain't it, Johnny?
Right,
not the go. So yeah, we're going to give him a clean fade, trim up the top, leave the majority in the back, and then clean up his beard. So let's get into it. So to start this haircut, I'm going to begin by dampening up the top of his hair. And the reason I want to trim the top first is because it gives me a length to blend into. So we're not going to wet his hair to the point where, where he's dripping, but you want to saturate it pretty well. And what I like to do to start my trims is create 3 sections, one in the middle, one on his right, and then one on his left. So I'm going to start in the back and comb that forward, and I'm going to part this over to the right. I'm gonna have you turn it this way a little bit, and I'm gonna come to the other side and do the same thing to create that middle section. And I make that middle section about the width of the middle of his eyebrows. So now I'm gonna go ahead and begin by trimming my middle section first, and this will act as our guideline or reference point when trimming the rest. So in the consultation, we agreed to taking off about ½ an inch here to go ahead and shorten it up. So we're gonna start in the middle, and we're gonna take off just about ½ an inch. These are not my scissors. And now I'm gonna follow that straight back. Staying real clean here, making sure that we can see our guideline at all times. If you don't see it, I would suggest not cutting it, because you don't wanna create any unevenness. And we're gonna stop right at his crown where it starts to get long. And then after we trim that middle section, we're gonna go ahead and comb that over towards his right. And now we're gonna take horizontal sections moving forward, using that middle as that guideline. So I'm gonna start in the back and pull that up, and you should be able to see the length difference here on the inside of your finger. And now you'll go ahead and cut it to that length. Now we're gonna go ahead and grab another section, and then right here you can see that length difference, so we'll go ahead and cut that. Gonna put it back a little bit. And we're staying real consistent here, not rushing this part. And now we're all the way at the front. This will be the last section that we grab. And as you can see, I can still, see that length difference there. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that. Right. Now we're gonna comb that back over to the right. Now we're gonna grab that middle section once again, and we're gonna pull that over towards his left. And now we're gonna do that same thing, start in the back. There's my length difference, and then we're just gonna cut it to that. And I found this system to be the easiest to use when trimming the top, because I know for me, when I first started using scissors, it was real difficult for me to like keep track of where I was at and make sure that all the hairs were even. So for me, this system works perfectly. Now we're almost towards the front. Alright, so our last section is right here. And there's that length difference, and we'll just cut it to that. Now after I go ahead and do all my sections, what I'm gonna do to cross check it is comb it all forward. And now I'm just gonna pull it up as I go backwards, just to make sure that all those hairs are even all the way across. So it looks like we did a pretty good job. So we'll go over the left side. There's a little bit of length difference there. And for the back, like I said, we're not taking off much here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cross check to make sure that it's even. Gonna look down a little bit. And the back is looking pretty much all the same length. And now to go ahead and dry his hair, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the diffuser. And what this is gonna do is kind of dry the hair in place without blowing it everywhere. And I'm just gonna put it on a medium heat until it's dry. Now what I like to do before I get into the blend, especially on burst fades or like faux hawks, is I like to line up the back first, because it kind of gives me an idea of how far I can go back with that, you know, burst fade without lightening this area up too much. So I'm gonna go ahead and begin by lining this area up first. For this haircut, we like to keep the back round. And when doing these type of haircuts, you have a few different options. You can do round, you can do a V, you know, you can even do squared. But I think for this specific haircut, round definitely suits it best. So as you can see, we're just cleaning it up. There's not too much to do. Especially since Johnny here cleans it up in between haircuts and makes it real easy for us. So we're gonna do the same thing on this side. Staying right on that line, not trying to dig into it too much. And now we're just gonna connect it with the other side. Now we're just gonna go ahead and shave the bottom. So I'm also gonna go ahead and line up the front before I get into the fade as well, because here, as you can see, his vertical bar isn't as dense. So when I line it up, it'll make it look a lot darker, and then when we do the blend, it'll help us gauge how much hair to leave there. So like with all my lineups, I like to start in the middle and move to either the left or right, but in this case we're gonna move towards my right, his left. And you always want to keep it as natural as possible, but at the same time, you know, getting it symmetrical and as sharp as possible. So we're gonna stop right in that corner. Don't dig into it. Now we're just gonna outline his vertical bar. And you always want to go ahead and recomb it to make sure you got any hairs that tend to hang over. You know how to cut your own hair by the end of this.
Just replay this over and over.
I get an email that says you subscribed. Start cutting Christians. So now we're gonna carry that over towards his right side. Again, we're gonna stop right in that corner. On this vertical bar. You didn't even laugh this time, punk. Now we're gonna go ahead and follow this up with the razor, just to sharpen it up before we get into the fade. So in this haircut, like I said, we're gonna be doing a burst fade, but towards the front, we're tailoring it just a little bit. So it's gonna be higher up here because all we wanna keep is that front box, no arch. And then we're still gonna do that round burst shape effect behind his ear. So I'm gonna go ahead and establish that bald line with my lever closed. And we're gonna start right at the top of his arch here. And now for behind the ear, I like to go about midway behind the ear is usually where I establish the back of that line. So I'm gonna come in with the corner and kind of give it that round shape. And the reason I'm coming in with my clipper before my trimmer to establish this bald line is because it makes it a lot easier to get rid of this line. So now we'll come in with our trimmer and we're gonna bald out right below. And yes, my trimmers are 0 gap, so they cut, you know, as close as possible. And now, since I know I'm going to be fading his beard, you know, pretty deep, I like to just get this line out the way as well. So we're gonna do it right at the bottom of his ear. And now we're gonna follow it up with our shaver just to take it a little closer to the skin and really make this blend pop. And it also adds a couple dates to the haircut. And we're not going all the way up to that line with the shaver. We're staying right below it. So now we're gonna come in with the clipper, lever all the way open. And we're gonna keep that same burst shape, but we're gonna spread it out about a finger's width here. So again, lever all the way open. I feel like I'm teaching the class in person, for real. Trying to make our guidelines as clean as possible. And now to get rid of that faint line in between, I'm gonna go ahead and close that lever halfway. And we're gonna work at this line. Now we'll close it a quarter of the way. So as you can see, we pretty much got rid of that line in between. So above that, we're gonna come in with our one guard, lever all the way open, and doing the same thing of fingers width once again. And I remember when I first started cutting hair, this haircut was really difficult for me, specifically towards the back, because I was always scared to take, you know, take it too far in to where it was like a super skinny mohawk. But with following the system and, you know, being confident with establishing your guidelines, you definitely should be fine. So you can already see the shape of this blend starts to come together little by little. So now to lighten up this line in between, I'm gonna close that one guard all the way and work at this line. Now to fully get rid of this line, I'm gonna grab my half guard with that lever all the way open once again. And then we'll close that little by little until we get this line completely blended. I need some water. Say that again? Yeah, no, for real.
No, I don't smell anything. I swear to God.
Swear to who? So now we'll close it halfway. And you can already see that line start to disappear here. And you can see right here what lining it up first did is you can already see how pronounced this vertical bar starts to look since we left more hair there. So now we're gonna grab our two guard with that lever all the way open, and we're gonna go up even a little more. But with this two guard, we don't wanna create a harsh line. We kinda wanna start to blend into that length. So I'm gonna come in and flare out with my clipper. So we're coming in and flaring out. Just trying to freehand our way into that length. Gonna look down a little bit. Even in the back, I wanna do the same thing. Don't be scared to dig into the hair just a little bit. And now we'll go ahead and close that two guard and stay right under it to lighten this area up. And now for the last guard we are going to use, it is our 1.5 with that lever open. And this should fully get rid of this line here. So I'm gonna come in open. And just like I did with the other steps, I'll go ahead and close it little by little. Now I'll go halfway. And now we'll close it all the way. And now we'll do the same thing right here in the back. Coming in open first. Now halfway. Let it out, bro. So that blend is pretty much finished. And now what we're gonna do to go ahead and soften up that transition into the length on the top and back, I'm gonna do some thinning shear over comb. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my comb, and I'm gonna come in and flare out as I get into that length. And then any hair sticking out, I'll get rid of with my shear. Let's go ahead and soften up that blend. This really adds that finishing touch. And then after we finish that blend and do the thinning shears, I'm gonna go ahead and add some enhancement here. And like I showed you guys in previous videos, I'm just using my Kiss Express and alcohol mix, and then just a simple business card in the airbrush. I'm gonna put it right on that line we created. And I always wanna spray light at first and then darken it up as needed. You can see how I darkened it up just a little bit. So now for the beard blend, all a beard blend is a reverse taper. So we know that we made this the bald guideline. So now I'm gonna come in with my lever open, just like I did on the top. And now we're just blending down into the beard. So we did open, and to get rid of that line in between, I closed it. And I find the beard to be a lot easier to blend than the hair, just because of the texture of it. So now we're here with a 1 guard open. And we're just trying to flick and blend this as best as we can. So now we're gonna go ahead and line up the bottom of his beard. And we're just gonna follow the outline that's already there. We just wanna sharpen it up. And the line is really what's gonna let you see, you know, that beard blend that we created. And you always want to make sure when you're shaving the bottom of the neck that you stretch the skin in the opposite direction, because the skin on the neck tends to be a lot thinner and it's easier to, you know, nick them or cut them even with the clipper. Now we'll follow it up with the shaver to get it nice and close to the skin. Now something I like to do before I line up the beard is use liquid razor, and I like to wipe it on the beard line before I hit it with the razor because what it does is allow me to get that white line that helps me make sure that both sides are even. So I just spray it on the neck strip and just apply it to the top of the beard, and then I'll go ahead and grab my razor while it dries, because it dries pretty quickly, and then we'll just go ahead and line it up. Alright, so now we're going to establish our line. I like to create one on the bottom of the beard and then the top of the beard.
Oh! You were good the whole time. Alright, go.
No, you're good. Go ahead and blow bubble. Trying to keep it as high as we can. Alright, you're good. So you can see the line at the bottom. I don't want to get in the way of the camera. Now we'll go to the top. And now we can connect those 2 points right there in the middle. And for the beard enhancement, I like to use level 3 hair color. This is the black. And I'm just gonna put it right here on the inside of his beard where it's dark, just to enhance it a little. So I like to use a paintbrush to apply it, just because I feel like it goes on a lot better. And I just want to follow that line. And we want to keep this as natural looking as we can, but also, you know, enhance it as well. And you can already see that slight difference it makes in the beard and the fullness of. So now to go ahead and finish off this cut, we're gonna style it with some hair color. Jesucristo. So now to finish up this cut, we're gonna go ahead and style it with some volumizing powder from Tomb 45. And this is just gonna give it that dry look but we are gonna follow it up with a really light pomade. I'm just gonna work that into the hair. It kind of adds some stiffness to it that gives it a nice hold. What is it that you use in yours again? When you do it?
The crew.
The American Crew?
Cream.
Oh, okay.
Cream, I think it is.
And now I'm gonna use a light clay pomade. You just wanna make sure that you melt it in your hands. And you always wanna apply more product in the back than in the front because that tends to be the area that needs it most. And then you just wanna work it into the hair. All right, y'all, so this is the cut. We did a nice clean burst fade, blended into the beard. If you watched through this video, I hope that it helped you in some way, shape, or form, but I will catch y'all in the next one.